A storm is approaching, and so is she. Here's your look at the brand new McFarlane Toys Diablo 4 Hydra Lightning Sorceress. The sorceress shapes the elements into whatever form is necessary to ensure victory, from hurling bolts of lightning, impaling her foes upon jagged spikes of ice, and raining flaming meteors down from the sky. I think just before we find out what weather she can wield, let's grab the tape measure first and see how tall the brand new Diablo 4 Hydra Lightning Sorceress stands. Would you believe that she stands almost exactly 6 inches in height? You can see it for yourself. Or the figure is going to be about 15 centimeters tall. And a big thank you to the folks over at McFarlane Toys that did provide this sorceress we could have a look at. Most of the online sites say that this is on a pre-order right now with a release date of December 2023, so I would imagine they would probably start to ship pretty soon. On either side of her bookend are stickers on the left, and on the right, a mystery bag. First, let's have a look at the stickers before we reveal what surprises are inside. You get actually 3 stickers, all of which are actually more larger square stickers, and they just, again, peel them off the back like that, and you just stick them anywhere, which way that you want. But you get 3 of them. You get 3 really decorative-looking, detailed stickers. I'm going to find a place where I can at least display these. Then, of course, you also get yourself the mystery bag. What is in the mystery bag? I don't know. There's supposed to be mystery weapons, and there's a little perforation there, or a little lip there on the plastic, so I might not even need a knife for this. But what you do is basically just going to pull this across. There we go. Open up the bag. I didn't really do that with my breath. And inside, it looks like we've got ourselves a couple of other things. Now, I think the idea with Diablo 4 is that all of the figures that McFarlane's team will be producing will all come with these foil baggies. And then in the baggies are going to be also these extra weapons. I would imagine that they're probably not going to be universally rotatable, so you can't really probably use, say, this. It's just by the size of the peg. I'm sure there's probably going to be larger characters with larger hands. These are probably specifically designed for the princess, or for the sorceress, I should say. And then she also comes included, like, I guess I would probably call that a scepter. It's made of actually a lot harder of a plastic than I was expecting. And either one of these can be, I don't want to say either one of these. This one will fit on this side of the figure's body. And then this one, like the other alternate hand that she comes included with, is going to go on that side. This one is actually a hand of her holding a skull. Whose skull that is, I couldn't really tell you. I'm sure somebody probably let me know down below in the comments section. But she actually comes with 2 variations of things that she can actually hold with this hand. One is the skull that was already a mystery, that we now already know what the mystery is. And then the other one is actually her wearing, or her holding, I should say, the gold mask. The gold mask, as you can see, has been molded. I think it's painted more in gold. And actually, as well, you can see like the fingers are fingerless gloves. Everybody was wearing fingerless gloves. And that will swap it with the hand on this side. Obviously, just for the placement of the thumb, you know it's only going to go on the one side of the figure's body. The other thing that is going to be coming included with the figure, that are the things that when you get the figure first out of the tray, are all the things you'll see right away. She comes included with a long, would that be a scepter? It could be also a long staff. The staff painted nicely here in a dark gunmetal gray. And then on the top, you've got this really decorative looking dragon that's been painted here in gold. Now this fits in her hands, and you can probably already kind of see for yourself the placement of where the things are supposed to go. I mean, unfortunately though, this is one of those things that if you aren't going to be displaying her with the staff, or maybe not the scepter that she comes included with, it's going to seem a bit out of place that her hand is just extended out like this, almost as if she's reaching out for a handshake. But we're going to go ahead and take the staff. We're going to just slide it up her hand here. There we go. There we go. Fit it all the way up, and now at least she actually has something to carry in her hand. Now, if you don't want necessarily this, she also comes included with this, I'm sure, as a scepter. Slithered up the top of the scepter is a snake. Again, it's molded and painted here in gold. Again, you can either go with this one, or now we have this one to work with also as well. Again, those will swap out on that side of the figure's body. So again, we'll just slide this all out. You know by now how this is going to work. And then that's going to go in place. Again, with it being slightly smaller, it doesn't have perhaps the pizzazz of maybe the longer staff. And then again, if you wanted to have it now with the mystery scepter, you can also display that in her hand as well. I think this one proportionally fits her body a little bit better, just because I feel like the snake is maybe a little bit too small when you're looking at the proportions of the rest of the figure's body. But you know what, for right now, seeing as we did start with a staff, why don't we finish with a staff? We'll just slide that in our arm for right now. Maybe in final looks while we jump over to something different instead. And then like this hand is not really holding much of anything right now. Now, she does have 2 alternate head sculpts. Now, if you were to say look at the mask that she carries or holds in her hand, it doesn't seem to be the same one that she's wearing on her face. Now, this head sculpt can be swapped out with the other one that we have, but if you wanted to have, say, this displayed with her alternate hand, it's just a case of popping the hand off the peg. Just have to wiggle it back and forth, and then you're just going to replace it with this hand. Now, when you are putting them in, unlike the head, there doesn't seem to be a rhyme or a reason for where the peg is supposed to go, and that's just going to fit into her form just like that, and the figure can be displayed. I really like this look, honestly, a lot more than displaying the figure with the hood. But if you wanted to, though, she has a defaulted head sculpt, which is, to be fair, really quite pretty and very nicely painted there as well. In a way, it kind of looks a little like Marlena from WWE. Remember Marlena? Eminem? Was it Eminem? Mercury? What was the other guy's name? Drawing a blank. Eminem. Mercury, Johnny Nitro, I think it was, and Marlena. Eminem. Took me a little bit to register that. But she bears, I feel, a little bit of a resemblance to that. It's a really nice looking head sculpt. I feel in a way it's almost robbed by when you swap it out with this head. So to pop the head out, I actually had a harder time initially doing this. I pulled and I pulled until finally it released. You can see like the way that the peg is actually set up. It's not necessarily a circular peg. It actually has kind of like a triangle with cut off corners. So when you are putting it back in place, the head only has a one way to go. So you can't actually like twist the head back and forth. I guess unless you had the head a little higher up and then you could twist it that way. But once you put it in place, there really isn't any rotational head movement or anything like that. In fact, actually, there doesn't seem to be anything that is posable on the actual figure here. And more so, it's the fact that this is actually supposed to be more a statue, kind of in the same way that McFarlane was doing the movie Maniacs. No real posability, but really does makes for a nice looking statue. So that's what she looks like. I don't know if I was to say display her, which I'm obviously not going to, but if I was to say display her with this head sculpt, I don't really feel like she would be then carrying around a mask as well. So just show you guys what that quickly looks like. The blue is nicely done, although the blue for the hood, I don't know if it's supposed to match the same coloring for the rest of the outfit, but the blue I see is notably brighter here for the rest of the outfit, and it isn't as bright as the hood. So we're going to go ahead and just pop the head off right now. We're going to go back to the way that we had it before. I just think it's the better of the two heads. Yeah, it's a much nicer looking head sculpt. Really nice looking eyes. Again, she got a little tiara there, painted nicely there in gold as well. Now, for the rest of the figure's body, she, again, only has a pre-posed body to her. So, like, the elbow is always going to be bent and the arm is always going to be extended. Without actually lending the idea of actually displaying her with something in her hand, it looks a little out of place. So you always want to make sure you have the accessories available. If we did want to, by the way, because I know somebody was probably asking, can you see what it looks like? Show what it looks like with the skull in her hand. I can do that also as well. Now, again, that makes me think that this is probably going to be a specific accessory that is for the Sorceress, not one that's going to be used then for another figure. And again, we'll just plug that into her hand, twist the peg back and forth. It's very tight quarters, I will say. There we go. There we go. So if you wanted to see what she looks like with the skull, I don't think the skull looks necessarily as good as the mask, so I'm probably just going to beeline it back to the mask once we get down to the final looks. As for the rest of the figure's body, being though it is a Staction figure, she's very brightly colored. The gold is nicely painted there on the tops of the shoulders. I love the frill that they've given the top of her collar there, and she has that similar sort of frill there on the shoulders also. The additional red that they've added, I don't know if I would necessarily say that's a red. It's kind of, again, more of like a caramel or a lighter brown, but very nicely, very cleanly painted too. Like the panel lining would be something that would be very hard to do, especially being such close quarters with the sculpting around it. And yet the silver has been so nicely painted by McFarlane's talented team. I mean, there's no paint that I can see problem-wise anywhere on the figure. Now, she is permanently attached, from what I can see, onto her display stand. The display stand is, though, hollow on the bottom of it. That's not really going to be a place that you're going to be seeing on the figure anyways. But trying moving it around that I did learn my mistake from looking at the movie Maniacs Harry Potter. I did try to remove the figure and just ultimately broke the pegs. So being the fact that it doesn't feel like there's a give when I'm trying to move the figure back and forth, I'm willing to think and lend to the idea that these are permanently attached onto the display stands and not ones to be messed around. But still, though, for being a Staction figure with the pose especially that they put her in, really, really nice looking figure. Again, I don't really necessarily want to call these figures as there really isn't any posability happening on here. Like, for example, the Hydra Lightning Sorceress has more relying on the sculpt to deliver home what I feel to be a great looking sculpt on the figure. She has filled in things that other can make up for the fact that she doesn't have necessarily posability, like an alternate head sculpt, and then again all the other things that she comes included with, like the stickers. And a nice little touch, I have to say, is also the fact that they included this little foil blind baggie. So you get the chance when you get these figures out of the packaging to kind of see what the mystery items were inside. And I would imagine it's probably just not going to be a randomly selected accessory. I'm sure that anyone picking these up for themselves will probably have, I'm sure, the same accessories inside with the Sorceress. That being, again, the staff, not being necessarily this hand, the hand that she has currently in the ends of her forearm. But again, it's really nice looking figure. It's actually going to be the first. We're going to be looking at several of these Diablo 4 figures, courtesy of the folks over at McFarlane Toys. But I think a good start here with the Hydra Lightning Sorceress. As we now wrap up things for the brand new McFarlane Diablo 4 Hydra Lightning Sorceress, you can probably already see that I've got the figure currently displayed with all the things that were found inside that foil bag. Nice little additional accessories, but to be all honest and fair, I like the more touches of gold that they use for the longer staff and the mask that she's holding in her other hand. So I'm sure I'm probably just going to end up putting these back into a Ziploc bag, something at least that's sealable, so I can kind of keep all the extra Diablo 4 accessories I'm not currently using with any of these statues in that bag, and I'm not going to be losing them. I had to, of course, mention that these are statues. There's going to be no posability. They're on basically the same vein as Movie Maniacs. They're going to be more staction statues than anything else. And just because you are robbed by posability on this does not make this a lacking figure. I think where it more than makes up for it is the sculpting and the paint that the talented team at McFarlane Toys painted to this piece. I really like the rich blue that they've used, and I really think it's an interesting looking pose. Not one, though, that you will want to be removing from the display stand. I did learn my lesson from the earlier Movie Maniacs Harry Potter. Don't try to remove these from the display stand, as you may likely break the peg. But it's a nice looking figure. And of course, the folks over at McFarlane Toys were kind enough to actually send over several of the Diablo 4 statues that we will be looking at in upcoming reviews. Now, let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think of these. These are slated, as far as I know, to be released this month. We're now well into December, so they are dropping, I think, on most of the sites they're showing right now as pre-order December 2023. So it's just a matter of time. Looking at the calendar with only a few spaces remaining for December, there's a good likelihood we're probably going to be start to seeing these in stores if they haven't already started to show up. Are you a big fan of Diablo? Let me know down below in the comment section. And if you're interested to start picking these up, because McFarlane's going to do, actually, from what they've sent over, they're including quite a lot of Diablo 4 characters that you're going to start to see on store shelves. But is this a kind of line that you could see yourselves getting into collecting? Let me know down below in the comment section. Also as well, hey, if you guys enjoyed this video, I want to hit with a like. But if you guys are loving the content and you would like to stick around for more, because we are going to be looking at more Diablo 4 reviews, hit that subscribe button down below is the first step. Turning on the bell notification is the second step. And the third step is always making sure you're coming back here on a regular basis. You may not know this, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, well, all the way up to Friday, we always have 2 videos popping up regularly. So that's a lot of content, and it's easily able to be missed out. And make sure you're coming back and checking out the homepage, making sure you're getting those notifications regularly, because there's always new content, like I said, coming to you from the person that's behind the camera. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.